National Elections Authority started receiving the candidacy applications for the presidential elections 2024 until the 14th of this month. The authority has earlier issued rules regulating the candidacy for the presidency, starting from filling the application from the prepared at the authority's headquarters in addition to conditions of the candidacy according to the Constitution and the law. Most important of these are to be an Egyptian of Egyptian parents, neither him nor his parents and spouse bear another nationality. The candidate should be not less than 40 years old and recommended by at least 20 members of parliament or the support of not less than 25,000 citizens who are eligible to vote in at least 15 governorates. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli urged rushing water pulling vehicles to Alexandria and El Bihaira in order to help executive authorities in Matruh handle the repercussions of the torrential rains in the governorate. The Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation has earlier announced the medium to heavy rains that hit Matruh overnight. The ministry elaborated that the rains temporarily stopped amid expectations of the rainfall at the sporadic places at Matruh and the northern coast. Upon the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the Ministry of Interior announced that the 24th phase of Kulluna Wahed initiative will be extended for a month till the 7th of November. The initiative aims at reducing the burdens over the citizens and providing goods and basic commodities at lower prices. The ministry said that all the products will be presented through 1,513 outlets and 44 exhibitions. It added that 1,026 MN outlets will provide the products at high quality and suitable prices. The Interior Ministry delegated a number of officers in various security directorates to accompany the martyrs' kids to their schools at the beginning of the new academic year. And this came to confirm that the sacrifices of the martyrs would not go in vain. Hisham Abdelaziz, the head of Al-Islah wal-Nahda, or the Renaissance and Reform Party, denounced the European Parliament statement on the Egyptian upcoming elections' fairness. Abdelaziz reiterated that there was no chase to presidential candidates or any kind of practices against them. He asserted that the Egyptian elections are fair and fully held under the judicial supervision, rejecting any foreign interference in the Egyptian internal affairs as unacceptable. For his part, MP of Al-Wafd party Ayman Mahassib described the European Parliament statement, which called on the Egyptian authorities to stop chasing the opposition figures, as baseless and a bold interference in the Egyptian internal affairs. Secretary General of the Senate Human Rights Committee, Rasha Ishaq Amin, rejected the statement issued by the European Parliament. She added that the European Parliament statement included a number of false facts that contradict with reality. For his part, MP Sayyid Shamsuddin described the European statement as misleading and illogical. He said that the Human Rights Committee of the Senate rejects the European Parliament statement, which called for free and objective elections, pointing out that the Egyptian leadership itself is really keen on holding fair elections. And still with the same issue, where Tariq Darwish, head of the Social Liberals Party, condemned the European Parliament statement, saying that it had always been making troubles and crises with Egypt. For his part, MP Riyad Abdel Sattar denounced the European Parliament statement, stressing that it used to criticize Egypt just for the sake of criticizing. He said that nobody has the right to intervene in the state's sovereignty. Head of Al-Ittihad party Rida Saqr denounced the European Parliament statement on the presidential elections in Egypt, saying that it depended on claims by the human rights organizations which have hostile stances towards Egypt. Saqr condemned the policies performed by some figures who claim themselves among the opposition and accused them of seeking foreign interference in the country's affairs. He stressed that the Egyptian elections are transparent and based on legal and constitutional rules. Head of the Egyptian Party, Councillor Hussein Abu Al-Atta, condemned the European Parliament calls for the Egyptian authorities to stop the harsh activities against the presidential candidate Ahmed Al-Tantawi. He said that this interference in the state's affairs is not acceptable. Abu Al-Atta stressed that the statements against the human rights in Egypt are politicized and baseless. Head of Al-Ghil party Nagi Al-Shihabi rejected the European Parliament statement on the presidential elections in Egypt and described it as an interference in the sovereign country's internal affairs. He pointed out that the statement is contradicted with the international law and attempt to restore the European hegemony. Al-Shihabi added that the European Parliament statement included wrong facts and lies that aimed at misleading the public opinion. Vice President of the Conference Party, Dr. Said Ghunaim, said that the European Parliament statement, which called on the Egyptian authorities to stop chasing the peaceful opposition, is baseless and depends on politicized reports. Ghunaim asserted that this is a fierce interference in the Egyptian affairs and is unacceptable. Vice President of the Conference Party asserted that the Egyptian elections are fair and transparent. Head of Masr October Party, Engineer Ahmed Hilmi, condemned the European Parliament calls for the Egyptian authorities to stop the harsh activities against the presidential candidate Ahmed Al-Tantawi. He said that this interference in the state's affairs is not acceptable. Hilmi stressed that the statements against the human rights in Egypt are politicized and baseless. Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Tariq Al-Mullah held a meeting with the Canadian Minister of Energy Brian Jane. The meeting tackled the means of fostering joint cooperation in the fields of green energy, green hydrogen and the oil discoveries, as well as the exchange of technological expertise in these domains. During the meeting, Al-Mullah expressed appreciation for the Canadian firm's commitment towards the Egyptian petroleum sector and for their keenness on expanding their investments in the Egyptian market. The ministers also discussed measures of upgrading the activities of the Canadian company TransGlobe in the field of exploring and producing natural gas as a main fuel resource in the western and the northern deserts.